Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Corona Cast Comedy Show. Slightly different version of the Corona Cast Comedy Show because I am currently in a hotel room, not at home. This is not my flat. There's no panda in the background or a kitchen. I'm in a hotel. But as the work I was doing, the project I was working on was a daytime thing, I figured I'm in a hotel. I might as well do a Corona Cast comedy show. I do not have my usual video camera, so I'm using my crap computer's video camera. So this may be a grainy Corona Cast comedy show. I don't have my fancy microphone, so it may sound kind of odd. Please put in the comments, let me know how bad it is. But I think it will be a funny episode, despite the fact that I sound and look bizarre. I am doing okay, Sean Alexander, and it was good. I worked on a comedy project, more to be told in the future. So I felt like a comedian again for one of the few times this year. So look fine, and hello to you, Kaylee Evans. Hello to you. I'm chilling in a hotel. I'm not going to tell you the hotel. People might think that I'm after Lenny Henry's job. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. Let's get going. Today's episode is like a random grab bag, because I didn't have a chance to do a lot of writing in the day because I was working on this secret project, right? So instead, ladies and gentlemen, I've looked through my notes at jokes which I didn't use on other episodes, ideas which I'm trying to develop, and a poem even, because I was commissioned to write a poem for a company for Black History Month. And I wrote them four options. They chose two of them. So one of the other ones, a funny poem, I'm going to do today. So it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's going to be a fun episode. Before I get started, as always, I got to first of all thank anybody who has contributed to the Corona Cast ever since March through kofi.com/Deliso Chaponda, which is under here, or through patreon.com/Deliso Chaponda. The most recent Patreons are Alex Taylor and Kama Matiti. Big thanks to you, plus Sean Alexander, Lawrence, and Helen, who were the previous Patreons. And also big thanks to Claire, who is the most recent Kofi donator. Any of you may do the same. But let's get started to the joke. So first, random subject, which I started developing a joke about and I haven't finished, right? So I'm going to try and develop it live in front of you. I do enjoy the fact that I have a swivel chair, unlike the normal Corona Cast comedy shows. I was thinking about children's fears, okay? Because I have nieces and nephews, and I have noticed, and I'm sure a lot of you have noticed, children have a lot of crazy fears. Like, children are afraid of things like children are afraid of the boogeyman under the bed, right? Terrified of the boogeyman under the bed. But at the same time, children are not terrified at all of things that are actually terrifying. So you've got a kid who's like, the boogeyman under the bed, the boogeyman under the bed is going to get me. And then they're on a plane in the middle of some mad turbulence, and they're just like, woo, what fun! It's a party over here. Children are so fascinating with their fears. I have a nephew who I have seen climb a tree, right? And jump from one branch to a branch on the adjacent tree that I had to yell at them because they risked falling over and breaking their neck. No fear doing this evil Knievel maneuver, but same child terrified of being alone in a house for around 5 minutes because the Tokolosh will come and get them. The Tokolosh is like an evil African leprechaun, right? And I just think it's absolutely interesting how children have rational fears and irrational fears, and they're not scared of the rational things, but they're afraid of the rational things. But then you think about it, and it's not just children. I was thinking about people who are not scared of COVID, right? People who are, a lot of people are scared of COVID, but particularly people who are into conspiracy theories, because it's so fascinating, because they're not afraid of the virus. They're saying the virus is not a threat. It's not a threat. But at the same time, they're afraid of governments putting computer chips in their bodies, right? They are terrified of baby eating celebrities, but they are not terrified of a pandemic. And I realize that as much as we grow up, maybe we don't change that much. I probably have some fears that seem totally rational to me, but to anybody else would seem irrational. So that's the first little subject we're going to talk about. Let me look at the chat before we move on to talking about politics. Okay, let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing? I'm doing well, Nikhil Sakare. Good to have you in the house. When can I expect my next stand up? I mean, I'm doing the odd show here and then, but the next stand up tour is going to start in January. I've started booking the dates. They will be announced soon, and tickets will be available soon. And anybody who is a Patreon is able to get like reduced or free tickets depending on what kind of Patreon you are. So check out my Patreon if you want to get the tour dates. It's going to be a totally safe tour. It's going to be third capacity. So I'm going to be doing things like you know. 300 seater, but only 100 seats sold. People sitting only in their social bubbles. So the tours are going to start in 2021, and they're going to be safe. And depending on how the government guidelines are, my ticket numbers will go up or down. So don't worry, Sakurai. The comedy is coming back. Okay, what are we doing? While browsing through Facebook videos, you saw me on Britain's Got Talent. Simon mentioned you should make your own show, and you did. I'm great. Thank you so much. You're right. I did do my own show. It's a radio show called Citizen of Nowhere, which is all available on BBC Sounds. Okay, how else are we doing? Michael Law says, Michael Law says, clowns are creepy. You're very right. And we all blame Stephen King. Did Stephen King make clowns creepy, or did we think clowns were creepy before Stephen King? That is a question. Because if it's all because of it, clowns should sue Stephen King. Okay, how are we doing? Sarah Hall says, you're fine with Pennywise, the dancing clown from Stephen King's It, and Stitches the Clown, played by Ross Nobles. You're fine with Pennywise? Pennywise doesn't scare you? I guess it depends on the Pennywise. I always thought Tim Curry was particularly terrifying. Okay, how are we doing? I'm making Africa proud. Thank you so much, Patrick Ankoma. Africa forever. Let's keep Wakanda forever. Deliso, when do I think I will start traveling? Whenever I am allowed to, Michael Law. I am someone who pretty much, I limit what I do based on what is permitted. So I'm going to start out by doing the UK. Based on the rules, and then my African tour will begin when it is easy to do it, because I could do it now, but it would be very complicated. It would be like, because I can't travel somewhere, travel back, and need to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. So I need to do it when it is not prohibitive. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep going. Next subject, which I want to talk about, is rather people complaining about how everything is about politics, right? This was a complaint which was leveled at Britain's Got Talent this week by people who were triggered and upset about certain comedians. A friend of mine doing political jokes, but not just about him. Not just about him. Generally, you get complaints when you talk politics on television. People say, hey, it's not the time, it's not the place. I've done comedy shows where I've talked about fingering, no problem. I've talked about spanking, no problem. I've talked about donuts, no problem. All sorts of fascinating subjects come up, and then in the middle I do a Brexit joke, and then afterwards I get a complaint. Okay. Now I actually, wait, let me find the complaint, because I typed out some of the funniest complaints which I have got. And silly me, I don't know where I put them. But essentially it was something like, okay, it was something like, oh, here it is. Hold on. No idea where it is. But it was something like, this lady said, we hear about politics all the time. Everything is all about politics. We come out to have a good time, right? And also people saying that we don't need politics now, not during our children's program, or not while I'm having my tea. And it leads me to think, what they want there to be a schedule. They want you to be warned every time politics is going to come up on the world. They want, like, they make it seem like politics is a thing jumping out of bushes and flashing them. You know what I mean? Like you're walking through the woods and suddenly somebody jumps out and says, hey, equal rights for all. Just flashing them at any moment. And I think what would make these people happy, what they need in order for them not to freak out, is what I actually think we need to introduce to help these people is we need to introduce a warning, right? A warning. The same way that if you're going to watch a movie at prime time and there's sexual scene that it says 18 and over, and it warns you that possibly there may be violence or sex, maybe we need a warning, right? This is rated E. Okay. The following may have content that may make some viewers uncomfortable. The problems that members of minority groups endure may be discussed. The historical role of your government or ancestors in subjects and subject may be discussed. Of course, the person who was paid to say the complaint would not flub it royally the way that I just flubbed it, but it was something like the problems that members of minority groups endure may be discussed in the following program. Just warn them so that they can live in a world where nothing they are not expecting ever confronts them. Okay, next joke before I go to a section about unasked for advice is about ASMR. I don't know if you're aware, there's a thing called ASMR, which a lot of people are going into. They find it very soothing, hearing people whisper that to them, hearing sounds, interesting sounds. It's like, anyway, very bizarre to me. A lot of people love this. And then even more bizarre, there are people who are sexually into ASMR. And I bring this up because somebody I know found out that their partner is sexually aroused, so to speak, by ASMR. So these weird sounds of people whispering into their earphones and stuff like that. And they were talking about it like it's a bad thing. And I was like, you're the luckiest woman in the world, right? Isn't that so easy to please your partner? That is a fetish. I wish I had a partner who was into ASMR because all I have to do is whisper to you. I don't have to go to the gym. I don't have to buy you gifts. All I need to do is whisper to you. Don't complain. If you've got someone who's got an easy to please fetish, you have hit the jackpot. If you are with somebody who wants to dress up as like a chicken and jump around and you get angry, just realize this is much easier than the other fetishes that may come out. Let me look at the chat before I go to the section on unasked for advice. Okay. Here we go. Good afternoon to you too, Rui Fernandez. Good to have you in the house. There's no good time for politics, says Sean A. There's always going to be people complaining because nobody can make everybody happy. And also, actually, it's not actually politics they have a problem with. It is politics they disagree with. Because the funny thing about a lot of people get angry about politics is they don't realize that everything is political. And sometimes the avoidance of a subject is equally political to discussing the subject if it's what's going on in the world. Okay, editing is a choice. Here we go. Poor Nabil got lots of moaning, and I was arguing with the idiots in the comments. Yes, Nabil Abdul Rashid, brilliant comedian, got more death threats and all kinds of hate than, like, when I was on, I got maybe 3 death threats, 10 angry people. I sound like I'm about to do on the second day of Christmas. I got 3 death threats, 2 angry gammons, 1 racist guy. Actually, I should write the whole song. But I got those. Take my numbers, multiply them by 10, right? Because as much as I am a foreigner, he's British, but angry people were more angry and were sending him all kinds of hate. And look, he's a very strong guy. He laughs it off. But every now and then, when you're not expecting, one of these messages really bothers you. So do go find him online and give him some positive feedback if you loved his comedy. Okay, let's keep going. How are we doing? Yes, indeed he was, Sarah Hall. Let's go on to the next subject. Ladies and gentlemen, which is unasked for advice. Now, I know like a lot of people are like me. I hate unasked for advice. I hate when people just show up and they watch you perform, or they listen to you talk, or they just see you walk down the street and they give you advice without being asked for. Like someone walking up to you and just saying, "Hey, mate, your clothes clash." Why would you do that? Right? But people will watch you perform. They'll come at you after they say, "You know what? You need to stop. You need to stop talking about race." Right? Like I didn't ask you. I didn't know you are some comedy expert. Or they'll come up to me and like, "Oh, you know what you should do? You should try to get on Life at the Apollo." Like, "Oh, you think I never considered this?" So unasked for advice is one of my pet peeves, like in all sorts of things. Or people will see you, find out some detail about your love life, and they're giving you excuse even though you didn't ask for it. But I started thinking about advice which people ask, and I considered, what would it be like if I was an agony aunt, if I was the person giving advice to people um about problems. So I went online. I went to Reddit, which is got a lot of people asking advice. I found a few bits of people asking for advice, and I have decided to give them advice, my wisdom to solve their problems. Okay, so let's get started with an asked for advice from Deliso Chaponda. Okay, so this is the first letter which some poor person put on Reddit. Oof. Where do I begin from? I am 23-year-old female, and I'm about to take my chartered accountancy final exam this November, and my productivity is decreased to nothing. I'm battling for the last 3 years. It's very stressful, and I feel it all engulfing me. Even though I've been disciplined through my career, as time flows, I'm tending to break the walls that I had once set for my personal and professional life. I'm afraid. Anyway, so this person is overwhelmed by how much work. They've realized it'll take me around 120 hours of effort to prepare for the exams, and I do not have time. This person is overwhelmed with the course on chartered accountancy. So, Lisa Chaponda, unasked for advice, cheat. Okay, woman, cheat. You're 23. You got no time to be spending all your life locked up studying. You could be out partying. You could be out twerking. Cheat, girl. Cheat. Okay, there are many ways you can cheat. What you can do is you can get the answers. You can put them in the inside of your palm. But what you got to do is you got to create a language, right? Because if you write in English, people see it, they'll know what you're doing. So what you need to do is you need to make some kind of code of dots and scratches and circles. Cheat, girl, cheat, right? Pay someone to write your exams. It has to be someone who looks like you, okay? You can't get somebody who doesn't look like you. They're going to fall through it. Find a doppelganger. Find someone who looks like you. Cheat, girl, cheat. Okay, that was the first bit of unasked for advice from Deliso Chaponda. Okay, next bit of unasked for advice. This is to do with QAnon. QAnon, if you are not aware, it is a current conspiracy theory which believes that people are running the world who are pedophiles and so on and so forth. And this is a letter which a person wrote because his wife has become very into the QAnon. And the title was called is I Am Considering a Divorce. My wife and I have been together since 2009. She fell down the Q hole a few years back, and that is all she ever wants to talk about. I literally showed her pamphlet and on logging in as Q, then pretending he had leg cramp on stream, and she thinks it was fake. She's convinced that Trump's son is a time traveler. I didn't even know that was part of QAnon. She thinks Trump's son is a time traveler. He's come from the future, or has he come from the past? I'm not sure, but apparently he's a time traveler. Okay, next. And she believes that Tom Hanks is dead and switched with a body double. Dude, I understand why you're stressed, okay? Your wife is believing all kinds of crazy theories, but you gotta instead realize you need to work this to your advantage, okay? You need to think about the things which you want from your wife and you just put them into the conspiracy theory. Because if she can believe that Trump's son's a time traveler, she can believe anything, man. She can believe anything. So think about it this way. Let's say you feel that you want to go to Paris for your Christmas holiday, and she wants to go to Cape Town, and you can't afford Cape Town. You don't want to spend all the money to go to Cape Town. All you need to do is you need to go into the forums, and you need to put a thing to start a post about how the New World Order is set up in Cape Town, right? And they're taking people out of planes in Cape Town and putting chips into their brains to control them. And then you put another post about how Paris is going to be the new revolution. Paris is going to be the place where Q reveals himself. You put those posts out there, you get what you want. Okay, my friend? What you need to do is you need to take your delusions and you need to use them to your betterment. Okay? Okay? That's my unasked for advice, ladies and gentlemen, to this fellow. I make jokes, but actually, I feel your pain. It is rough when you are seeing somebody and they convert to a belief system which you do not hold valid, and it keeps coming up. Because some things you can ignore, other things keep coming up. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do one more bad advice. I actually quite enjoyed bad advice. You know what I might actually do as my next Corona cast? Instead of asking people what subjects I should make jokes about, I think I'm going to do in a morning, I'm going to say, tell me your problems, and I will give you delisos and asked for solutions to your problems. I think that's going to be the next Corona cast. But the very last bit of advice I want to put here is not actually because of the advice she asked for, but because of one of the bits of bad advice which I saw she was given on Reddit. Okay. So here it is. You see, usually I have my note cards. Right now, I'm scrolling up and down trying to find what I wrote. Okay, here it is. Here it is. A woman on Reddit, right, asked for advice on being an e-whore. An e-whore. Now, this is a very derogatory term for it, right? But she used this term. Essentially, she wants to make money off offering sexual things online. And she said, "Hi, I've e-whored before without knowing." Which immediately it is, how did you not know? How did you not know you were doing it? Were you like just on Tinder, got someone's WhatsApp, and then you sent them like a little bit of revealing skin, and then they just surprised you with money? How can you not know that you were paid for your sexual services? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. No judgment. Let us continue. So I've e-whored before without knowing, but now when I do it intentionally, I am having difficulties getting someone to pay. I say, like, what do I say to convince them to buy and stuff? Any advice about e-whoring in general will be appreciated. Thank you. So I have no experience as an e-whore, so I could not give her any advice. But I was like, I got to give this. I started reading through the advice people were giving her. Lots of people were telling her, join OnlyFans, right? What you need to do is you need to send them something that's only half revealing and then say, if you want to see the rest, pay me. Things like that, right? In the middle of it, someone gave her very good advice about what you do with the money, okay? I hope you know what to do with the money. I wasted a lot of time and money when I was your age. Buy assets, not liabilities. So far, great advice, right? Driving license equals asset. New car, leased car, instead of a new car, liability. Okay? Skill, asset. Education, asset. Nose job, boob job, asset. I was like, wait, this person's giving you good advice and then says put all your money into getting a nose job and a boob job? Is this really an asset? Is this something that gains value as time goes on? Don't they need maintenance? Don't they start saying, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing the trick into looking around the UK for properties which I can buy, and I should instead take my savings and give myself double D's. Double E's? Okay, I'll go F. I'll go F, people. Ladies and gentlemen, that there is my little section on An Ask for Advice. Before we go to the final section, which is a funny poem, ladies and gentlemen, let me take a look at the chat. Let me take a look at the chat. Okay, here we going. Giovanna Mina says, you happened to listen to my show on BBC Radio 4 last year, and you've been following me ever since. Thank you so much for taking a look at Citizen of Nowhere. It is indeed the best thing I think I've ever written. So thank you so much. It's my favorite show. Okay, thank you so much. Not too late. Indeed, it's not too late. The show is still going. You're here watching from Abu Dhabi, UAE. I miss doing shows in Abu Dhabi. I will be back. I loved performing in Abu Dhabi. And I'll tell you the other thing about when I performed in Abu Dhabi. I felt like a Bond villain. Your hotels are out of control, right? I was staying in the biggest, look at this little hotel room. And in Abu Dhabi, I was rolling like a gangster. It was great. All the hotels, well, not all the hotels, but the hotels which were sponsoring our comedy show put us in suites and 5-star in any other country. So let me put it this way. 3-star in Abu Dhabi is 2-star. No. 3-star in Abu Dhabi is 4-star in another country, right? 4-star in Abu Dhabi is 5-star in another country. And I never was in a 5-star hotel in Abu Dhabi, but I imagine you would think you're like the prince or something like that. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Okay, here we go. Double D Deliso. Indeed, because size matters. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, today's episode, I'm going to end it with a poem. So I was hired by a company to write some poetry, mixed about Black Lives Matter, about racism, and so on and so forth. But I gave them a few different moods. I gave them an angry political poem. I gave them a hopeful poem. I gave them a whimsical poem. And I also wrote an absolutely silly poem, right? Like a joke poem. And they chose 2 of them, and one of them I have submitted to a magazine which publishes my stuff, which leaves me with 1 extra poem. I didn't know what to do, so I'm going to end this episode by reading to you. It's a little bit of a rhyming story. I hope you enjoy it, and after it's done, I'm going to be checking out. So good night. Thank you for tuning in to this very interesting, very different Corona cast in a hotel room. Okay, so here we go. It is called it's just it's a love story. Okay, here we go. Every couple got problems and obstacles. They can be tackled because love is unbreakable. This is what I thought until the day that I had to meet my girlfriend Lena's mom and dad. They seemed like a couple of regular blokes, simple folks, the kind that own land. When I told them that I wanted their daughter's hand, they smiled at me and seemed to understand. They were really polite, treated me right, and dinner was perfect that first night. But after dinner, her father, you guessed it, humbly requested to speak with the guest. He took me to the cellar, closed the door, grabbed me by the collar, and pushed me to the floor. He said, I'm just your average dad. I love my daughter, lad. Then he taught me about the day that he joined the KKK. I thought it was a joke. I thought he misspoke. But then I saw his tattoo, his collection too. He had a swastika on his arm, to my alarm. He had a couple of rifles back in the barn. Lena's gonna marry in an all-white room with an all-white priest and an all-white groom. I tried to explain that I wasn't that bad, at which point he felt that he should probably add he had a length of rope that would fit my throat, and it would bother him less to slaughter a goat. When I told Lena, she didn't believe me. She thought it was insensitive and that I was deceiving. She asked, what are you trying to say? There ain't no way he's part of the KKK. She thought I was around the bend. And I asked if he had any black friends who come by on weekends. No, she admitted, but then she insisted that he couldn't be racist, and she listed the reasons. She said he's religious. He's always burning crosses. And she heard him tell his boss about affirmative action. But he works in a prison, and he was telling his boss that on death row, blacks should be the first to go. No matter what I said, she wasn't convinced. And her dad says to me that I will be lynched if I don't get back away from his Pookie. In front of her, he would smile at me, put his arm around me when she took photographs. He would joke all the time and look at me and laugh. When we were in private, Mr. Hyde came out. He would push me, kick me in the side, and shout, "You're running out of time. I'm slowly losing my mind. I'm warning you to be kind. I'm part of the KKK. You had better go far away or you gonna die on your wedding day." Okay, I confess that I was scared senseless. I didn't want to put his threat to the test. I really loved Lita, but I had to back out. Though she'd never forgive me, there was no doubt. I was about to tell her when I saw the photos of me and her dad. God only knows how sick it made me to see his hypocrisy. Then I got an idea that just might save me. I made copies of the photos and mailed them out to every white man around and about. "He's betrayed us," I wrote on the back. "Look at him and this black man, as a matter of fact." Lena's dad disappeared in just 2 days. Traitors ain't tolerated in the KKK. Ladies and gentlemen, that there was her daddy's part of the KKK little poem that I wrote. Thank you so much for tuning to the Corona Cast comedy show. I will be back, I think tomorrow. Possibly in a hotel room, possibly home. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but see you tomorrow. This has been Deliso Chaponda. Ciao. And tomorrow, I think join up to my just check Instagram, Facebook, Twitter in the morning. I'm probably going to put out a little graphic saying, "Tell me your problems," and I will write Deliso approved, unasked for advice. Have a wonderful evening. This has been the Corona Cast.